Ladies and gentlemen, here we are again, live from the studio, Hudson County View, live at Uncut. I'm your host, your favorite cult of personality, your favorite person to tell you 2 and 2 makes 3, John Arhitis, and it's been another eventful week here in Hudson County, as it always is. So first, we were going to discuss a little bit about the latest ongoing legal woes of Sudhan Thomas, the former Jersey City Board of Education president, as well as the former acting director of the Jersey City Employment and Training Program. An interesting development in his cases, he appears to have some issues with legal representation. We'll tell you all about that. We're also going to discuss the latest with the Hoboken rail yard redevelopment plan. There was a heavily anticipated special meeting there in the Mile Square City last night. Though as luck would have it, there did end up being a vote. We'll give you all the details on that one. We're also going to speak about some developments in the New Jersey State Assembly. Some of our Hudson County legislators have gotten some important leadership roles, so we're going to make sure that we go over that. And we also have an ongoing development with CarePoint Health and Alaris Health. That feud looks like it's coming to a head. It's really getting hot and heavy over there, so we're going to tell you the latest on that. And of course, we can't forget about our guest. Live from the studio, we're going to be interviewing next Jersey City Education Association President Ron Greco. So all that and maybe even a little more, but we're going to take our first break with our sponsor. We'll be right back.
It takes more than a state-of-the-art medical facility to make a great hospital. It takes a team of dedicated medical professionals. That's the Jersey City Medical Center, Hudson County's #1 hospital. Medical teams consisting of New Jersey's top doctors, Magnet Award-winning nurses, and accomplished hospital associates, all committed to your good health. That's what you have at the Jersey City Medical Center. Make Hudson County's #1 hospital your first choice. Visit us on the web at barnabashealth.org. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design studio and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut. John Arhitis, and as promised, we're joined by Jersey City Education Association President Ron Greco. Ron, great to have you.
Hey, John, good afternoon. How are you?
Very good, thank you. So, Ron, obviously one of the hottest topics in Jersey City these days, needless to tell you, is this potential referendum in November where it looks like the voters would decide if we stick with an elected board, if we go to an appointed board. I don't think there's any question where you stand, but for those that may have missed that council meeting at the beginning of the month, just tell us why you were so aggravated with what you were seeing and why your position is what it is.
Well, I'll start with the evening prior, which was Thursday, January 2nd, was the reorganization meeting of the Jersey City Board of Education. And Stephen Fulop, mayor, showed up to swear in the 2 candidates backed by the LaFrac ticket. That was his first time I've ever seen him at a reorganization meeting, or definitely was his first time swearing in board candidates. He sees me in the auditorium, gymnasium there. We speak often. He'll text me when he needs something. We didn't exchange any hellos or anything like that. Next morning, it's all over the media. So I did send the mayor a text message to let him know of my dismay. And also the New Jersey Education Association, he reached out to them and I through text message to say, this is to help you. We want to work with you. I want to fix the schools, and the union can be a part of this. And our response was simply, you have no problem calling us or texting us whenever you need something, especially the state union, the New Jersey Education Association. There are a handful of mayors in the entire state that have that president's personal cell phone number and can get her at any time of the day. And she gives Steve Fulop that courtesy. So I think it was very disrespectful to the president, Marie Bliston of the NJEA, that he didn't even give a heads up. Even what's going on with Donald Trump, there's between the Republicans and the Democrats, there's a heads up, they know what's coming. So that was a poor play on his part.
So you felt like you guys were blindsided.
We were blindsided. So to fast forward to the council meeting, I did speak for the 5 minutes, like a gentleman at first. I was sitting in the rear of the council chambers, and a few people, there was a lot of yelling and excitement going on, and
there sure was.
Looks like a gymnasium in there, the echo chamber effect. So a few people were turning around and looking at me saying, he's saying your name, he's saying your name. I said, oh. So I stood up and I heard Councilman Robinson again when he saw me, stated my name. So I said, what did you say? What did you say? I couldn't hear him. And I never even heard what he said. It was something about Sudhan Thomas, but I never heard what it was.
I believe he said that you supported Sudhan Thomas for re-election.
Oh, okay.
Something along those lines.
We did support him. At that point, my good old, the Italian-Irish in me got the better of me, and I ran up there and gave them a piece of my mind, because I feel this is a power play. This is a grab by the mayor in the 11th hour, and he'll deny it if he were here and when you speak to him. He pleaded and begged the Board of Education, do not sever ties with the superintendent who just left. I won't mention her name because of litigation purposes. That was the deal we struck. We would not speak her name, and I'm glad not to do that. But he wanted her to stay here. I don't believe he wants to work with Franklin Walker. I don't believe he wants to work with Lorenzo Richardson, because they're not the type of people that he can control. And, this rhetoric of the board has to show accountability, the board has to become responsible, the board has to demonstrate fiscal, restraint. Where was this? Where were these demands for the 6.25 years that his gal pal was here, the superintendent, and the state monitor, Catherine V. Coyle, who he brought in here? He brought in here in January 2012. And when she arrived on the scene, the JCEA, at that time I was the vice president, we had questioned him and said, what is she doing here? And it was only 6 months. That's what he swore. He promised 6 months. And we, reminded him that she was a former employee of this district who left under a cloud of, suspicion and wreaked havoc in her career here. Was the henchman for the former superintendent, who bragged that we went on strike, that she caused the strike and was proud of that. And but he swore 6 months. Well, here we are, 2020, and the person was just, alleviated of her duties from the New Jersey Department of Education in 2019. But it was a long battle, so that's why I'm a little annoyed with the mayor. He talks about transparency. He has none. He blindsided the public with this. Forget about the union side of it. Forget about the teachers. Forget about the parents for a minute. What about the general public? But you should show respect to the parents. And many members of the general public are parents with children in the school system. So to do a move like this without any type of community forums, maybe even 6 meetings in the wards, it's not a lot to ask of these council people to do. It would be nice to see their face out in the community once in a while. But to make this move, I see it as a power play, so he can control the Board of Education, control the contracts, control the flow of money, and his position of, if I have control of it, then I can fix the problems. I can help with the finances.
Right. I think we both know the initial press release like the back of our hands at this point.
Yeah.
Right? Like they talked about 5 resignations over 3 years. They talked about the 2 indictments for Sudhan Thomas. They spoke about the quote-unquote anti-Semitic comment from Joe Terrell. Obviously, not everyone agrees with that, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
And they said these are all reasons why we need to take control. So certainly you don't agree with that. I mean, why? But why?
No, because, to throw in there 5 resignations, that's not fair at all. The first gentleman that resigned, John Reichert, he moved to Union County. So therefore he had to, resign from the board, vacate the seat. The next person, unfortunately, was Angel Valentin, and he publicly announced why he was stepping down. He was in very poor health and struggling with, some personal issues. So the time that is consumed with being on the board, he just couldn't do it anymore. And he was not in the best of health. He had been hospitalized, and a good soldier. Angel is a good person. He was on the telephone from his hospital bed for a few of those board meetings. So he resigned. Mr. Shapiro and his family relocated to California. He vacated the seat. Mr. Geese, Amy, who's, we all know her. She became the chair of the HCDO, and she's also a full-time, a school teacher by day. So again, after a few months, she just did not have the time to complete it. And then the 5th resignation was the Reverend Lipe.
Right, Fernandez,
who had cited personal reasons. And we all had friendly dialogue back, at that time. And he had said, I'm thinking I'm probably going to, make a move just for family and personal reasons. So 5 resignations over a few years, you can't cite that as a reason to seize control of a Board of Education. It's the municipality's responsibility to fund a school system. I mean, when you look around New Jersey, I don't know how many mayoral controlled boards or appointed boards there are. I know there's a few in the country, but that's just not an excuse. It's the way the United States public education is. The tax dollars fund the schools.
So if there is a ballot question in November, we're going to have to wrap it up here, unfortunately, Ron, but if there is a ballot question in November, there has been some talk, some suggestions that maybe the union would want to do a recall effort or two on the city council. Is that something you guys have discussed?
The idea has been floated. A lot of members have brought it forward, emailed me, texted me. A few people have called. We'll see where that goes. I think these people forget that the constituency, we elect them. And a lot of people work for the school system, or our parents who will be directly affected by this, or just citizens even who don't have children who will be affected by a mayoral controlled school board. So, I mean, that's something we'll look at. Our main goal is to educate people on this issue so they know when they're going in the voting booth which choice to make, that they're well educated and that they will make the choice that they feel is best. And we want to educate people as to both sides and let folks know that we voted on this in 2008. And overwhelmingly, we moved back to an elected board.
Very good. Ron, thanks so much for your time. Thank you for
thanks,
tuning
John.
in. We're not done. We're just going to take a quick break, and I'll be back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just 1 path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport, live like you want.
The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut. John Arhaitis, and now I'm with Mark Bucinich. So, Mark, great to see you again.
Great to see you again, John.
Thanks for holding down the fort last week. So,
it was fun hosting, John.
Very good. Glad to hear it. So, as usual, we're talking about Sudhan Thomas. As everybody knows, there is 2 different cases against him. We have one from the U.S. Attorney's Office, one from the New Jersey Attorney General's Office. Then there's also a civil case that also revolves around JCEP, a former employee, a whistleblower suit, which is the first person that talked about him writing these checks to cash. Now, the latest development that we have exclusively reported, and I don't believe anyone has followed up on yet this week, is that his attorney, Christopher Adams, is alleging that Sudhan Thomas owes $25,000 for legal services, and since he hasn't been paid, he's looking to drop him as a client. So this is certainly not the kind of news you want if you're Sudhan Thomas. These are 2 pretty prominent cases, and the third one doesn't make life easy either. Certainly quite a predicament, I guess, to put it nicely. what's your take on this, Mark?
Very interesting development here, John, and great job by you by getting the scoop. I mean, yeah, according to the story that you wrote, Sudhan, that is, owes the firm $25,000. I mean, I think at first he paid, according to what you wrote, at first he paid $10,000 to represent him.
15.
15, right, 10,000 for one case and then 5,000 for the other.
Yes.
So it was a total of 15,000.
Yeah.
But now it seems that Sudhan hasn't been paying forth or paying the additional monies that he owes him. So the attorney in turn decided to drop him, as you clearly stated.
Yeah. So another interesting aspect of this story, Mark, and everyone watching. So it lays out a timeline of when he hired the law firm, and that law firm, just escaping me for a moment, that's Greenbaum,
GRS? Yes,
Rose,
go ahead.
Smith, and Davis LLP.
Right.
It's mostly referred to in the court filing as just GRSD. That's Chris Adams' firm. So anyway, my point was that they give you a timeline. When they were hired on August 14th, that was just 5 days after Nuria Sierra had filed suit asking for the Attorney General and the U.S. Attorney to get involved for his leadership at JCEP. And then on September 20th, they agreed to represent him in a Division of Criminal Justice investigation. And those of you that have been following diligently, which is probably pretty much all of you that are watching this, you know that Sudhan Thomas has been accused by, again, the NJ Attorney General of accepting $35,000 in cash bribes in connection to a potential 2021 city council run. And those charges came on December 19th. And of course, we know that early in the new year, I believe that's January 3rd, he was accused of embezzling $45,000 from JCEP while serving as the acting director. So, this is quite a predicament, even by Hudson County standards. Again, there needs to be an official ruling from the judge before Chris Adams could just walk away. But, given the circumstances that he lays out here, it's hard to imagine any scenario where they aren't parting ways here. You think that's a pretty fair assessment there, Mark?
I think it seems to be that way, John. And just, if I could just clarify as far as that $15,000 amount that I alluded to earlier.
Sure.
So Chris had accepted $10,000 for the DOJ case, Department of Justice case, right, in regards to the suit filed by the U.S. District Attorney for New Jersey, correct? And then $5,000 for the civil case. And then, as our viewers, they can, of course, go to your article on the website and read that Chris is quoted here as saying that he has not, Sudhan Thomas has not paid the firm for any of the work the firm completed to represent him further in the DOJ or USAO investigations.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing is at the end of that, he also says to date, he owes more than $25,000, and that bill continues to grow each day. And he argues in the court filing there's no risk of prejudice to Mr. Thomas to allow counsel to be relieved at this early state of litigation before any meaningful discovery has begun. So we'll see what happens, but this is again a really unfortunate turn of events for Sudhan Thomas. I mean, certainly this is things where you want high-profile counsel. Certainly not the type of thing I don't think anyone would want to approach with a public defender. Adding some further intrigue to this, Mark, I don't know if you're aware or if anyone else is aware really, but he was scheduled to have a central judicial processing appearance over in Morris County Court. Morris County Superior Court, I guess I should say, yesterday. So I'm not sure about the status. I mean, I was in contact with them throughout the week, and as of Tuesday, he was scheduled to appear. I don't know what the status is, but we're certainly going to update you when we get some more information there. It would be really interesting if he did not have counsel, or if he used a public defender, or if he had new counsel. So certainly all developments we're going to be keeping our eye on. So,
and of course, you reached out to both parties, Thomas and Chris Adams, that is, and it's unfortunate they couldn't get back to you, but of course that would have enlightened our readers and viewers a lot as well.
Sure. So, obviously we're going to see what we see, but these cases look like they're a long way from done, but an interesting development nonetheless, any way you slice it. So we're going to take another quick break. We're going to be right back.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office space and an address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment. Adjacent to all modes of transportation. On-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. 201-521-9000 or visit on the web at panapintoproperties.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
Introducing the My JCMC app, powered by Practice Unite. The free My JCMC app puts the power of healthcare at your fingertips. Go to the concierge for access to referrals, scheduling, and appointments. See emergency room wait times and get directions to Jersey City Medical Center health locations. Read the latest JCMC news through their social media feed, find a doctor, and more. The My JCMC app. We belong to you.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut. John R. Haitis with Mark Bucinich. So real quick notation, everyone. I said at the beginning of this broadcast that we'd be speaking about some changes at the Assembly level that affects our Hudson County legislators. Angela McKnight of Jersey City and the 31st Legislative District is now the chair of the New Jersey Homeland Security and State Preparedness Committee. That's, of course, in the Assembly. And also getting a top leadership role is Assemblyman Raj Mukherjee of the 33rd Legislative District. He is now the Assembly Chair of the Judiciary Committee. And also two other Assembly women from Hudson, one being Angelica Jimenez of the 32nd District, and of course, Annette Chaparro of the 33rd Legislative District also has received some upgrades on their respective committees. We see Assemblywoman Jimenez will now be the Vice Chair of the Health Committee, while Assemblywoman Chaparro will now be the Vice Chair of the Law and Public Safety Committee. So, Hudson County news worth mentioning, but just a quick notation as we want to talk a little bit about last night's Hoboken rail yard redevelopment plan special meeting. So, Mark, it appears the council members heard about this as recent as Friday, based on an email sent by Councilman DeFusco. So, they just heard about this on Friday. They put the notice out. And it looked like we were going to have a vote, and you know how these type of meetings go, better than most. And as luck would happen, we end up not having a vote, and it was just a public hearing that only had about six, actually not about it, had six public speakers. However, there was no time limit, so you can imagine how that would go in Hoboken.
It's a little disappointing that there was no vote, right, John?
I would say so, but look, I understand that there was also a potential issue with legal notice. Of course, the Open Public Meetings Act is something that every municipality has to abide to, and given that there's really no urgency on this project, I can understand why the City Council and why the Bala administration would want to proceed with an abundance of caution. So,
yeah, sure.
While it may not have been as much fun as it could have been, we certainly did learn a lot. I mean, there's a whole bunch of details we could go over here.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's interesting, John, that they held another special meeting to hear from the public. I mean, it was back in November when I was at the Hoboken terminal, where representatives from Elcor, Vice President of Elcor, in fact, Brian Barry was there to talk to residents and commuters about some of the changes to the redevelopment plan for the Hoboken rail yard.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, obviously this is something that's been on the radar for several months, like you basically just said. And this is, I think this is at least the third version of the plan since October, maybe even more, but I think it's at least the third one. And I just wanted to tell everyone about the changes. I mean, Site 1, which is an office building between Hudson Street and Hudson Place, would be between 200 or 300 feet tall, depending on a financial feasibility study, which will be determined by a redevelopment agreement. And the maximum square footage would be 412,000 square feet if it's 200 feet tall, and it would then grow to 635,000 square feet if it's 300 feet tall. And on top of that, Site 2 is a 330-foot building on Observer Highway between Hudson Street and Garden Street, and that had been designated as a residential tower but now its usage will be determined by that financial feasibility study. So it's possible this could be a commercial building. It's possible it's mixed use, but it at one point was designated for just residential, no longer the case.
Right.
And another thing that I think is important is they talk about improvements at they talked about last night, Ferry Terminal Building and Warrington Plaza improvements, and
Which which seemed to be very well supported by First Ward Councilman Mike DeFusco.
yeah, it seemed like he was the one who was behind that idea. And, that would include a number of things, a performing arts center / gallery, a museum, and a marketplace. And the other thing that I think was new that I don't believe we talked about in relation to the rail yard project, Mark, is the Hudson Place pedestrian plaza and circulation design. That basically was how they will set up the buses, ride shares, and bicyclists to travel through the development quickly and safely.
Right.
As typically seen in Hoboken, not everyone supported the plan.
Sure.
A lot of people said, what's going on with the traffic? Not a lot, but some, again, only 6 speakers. But some people had a problem with traffic still. They said, I want to see the traffic study. What does it say? And if it's saying we could support more development, I don't understand that. And we also saw one woman, Diane Feedy, speak out against the pedestrian plaza, saying that you're basically cutting off your regular commuters from that area. You're taking away not only a thoroughfare to travel through, but also a place to park. And she said that could be up to 100 parking spaces put in jeopardy. And, as you saw last week, and I mean, as you knew way before that, parking's certainly a premium in Hoboken.
It sure is, John. And then and not only did the parking issue come up, but the, I guess you can call, an increase in the population in Hoboken, because you had one resident who said that, another large-scale development could easily push Hoboken's population well above 60,000, maybe up to 62,000 with this specific, if residential development should occur. I mean, that was her main complaint. I mean, I know that there's been some changes, and as you said, Site 1, or was it Site 2?
Site 2.
Where they're taking away the residential development, but nonetheless, that was some of the features of this plan warranted a couple residents, at least this one resident in particular, Mary Andreka, to say, if we have another large-scale residential development in the city, it could as I said, push Hoboken's population above 60,000.
Yeah, and there was also some complaints about the feasibility study and the redevelopment plan, because some council members said a few times over that this is all conceptual. We'll figure this out by the time the redevelopment plan comes out. And, some residents were like, I don't like that the council just voting on these hypothetical situations. Like, let's get it hammered down. However, I do believe what the governing body is doing is pretty standard procedure. So with that said, Mark, I did also, before we call it a day here, I did want to also just give a quick update about this court battle between Alaris Health and CarePoint. So CarePoint, of course, is trying to sell the Hoboken University Medical Center and Christ Hospital, of course, in Hoboken and Jersey City, respectively, and they're in court with Alaris Health, which is one of the top nursing chains in New Jersey, and they're alleging that he interfered with this whole process by buying property in Bayonne and Hoboken, the property that the actual hospitals sit on. And now, in a counterclaim, Avery Eisenrich, the owner of Alaris, is saying that CarePoint owners embezzled millions as hospitals continue to lose money. That's our latest post on our website, just went up at about 1:30 right before I was on my way over to the studio. So I highly recommend you guys check that out. And with that, we're out of time. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ron Greco. And, of course, thank you, everyone at Hudson Media Group. We'll see you next week.